So, if you wanted to learn how to be a party promoter, would you want to be given a course or would you want to be given coaching or one-on-one? Well, that's what I do. I give one-on-one coaching where basically I spar with you. I sit next to you and I help you through everything that we're thinking about when it comes to throwing a party. And I'm just starting a new coaching session with a young fella from Boston. But anyway, he's extremely energetic and he wants to get into the party throwing thing. He is brand new in the game, but he wants to take it to the next level. And he came to me saying, hey, I want to learn how to leverage your experience of 22 years in the industry and how I can go faster to where I want to go. He's going on to 4-year college just now, and he's also a very accomplished sportsman. He's on the varsity team and all of that. But he wants to make it his career. And that's very interesting for me. And love to work with somebody like that because he's very motivated and he thinks of all kinds of things that he wants to do. But there's a lot of things that he hasn't thought of. That's where I come into the picture. It took me 10 years before I realized I needed a mentor, somebody that could help me to the next stage, I should say. So here's an example. So yesterday when we started our first call, we were talking about the strategy, where he wanted to be, creating a brand name. Did he have a checking account, down to basic things that makes you come across as much more professional when you're going to write a check to, DJs that you hire, production companies that may help you and stuff like that. Or maybe even venues if you have to pay a rental, which we're trying to avoid all the time, right? So we go in and negotiate that and using some tricks that I learned that way. We started mapping out all these things and started thinking about how do we do that? And he's smart enough to think that, number one, like I said, he wanted to get a coach that's been there, done that. I got 22 plus years in the industry, like I said, but he also engaged a person that could do his website, his text messages, emails, and all of these things. So we're sorting out all of these things now, and he's creating partnerships with other people that are stronger in certain areas than what he is. So it's super smart. So that's what I want you to think about as well. If you were to get coaching from me, I'm not going to give you a course. I'm going to be there hands-on with you, down in the dirt, figuring out stuff, thinking about the next event. And one of the things that I told him right off the bat, I said, when you're having a party, you always have the next party lined up so that you can market that party at this existing party. And you want to make sure you hit that first coming party out of the ballpark. It's going to have to be packed. Great crowd, great music, great energy, all of that. Because otherwise it's going to be 10 times as hard to lift yourself, not only that, but to lift that crowd to get them to come back to you if it's not a kick-ass party. So you never want to leave anything to circumstances. You want to over-promote and you want to promote to the right people, with the right crowd, for the right venue, and a lot of things needs to happen right for you. So that's where I come in with the picture with tons of checklists that we go through. Again, not a course. Hands-on experience that I've been using myself. And one of the things that I'm good at is being detailed and following up and being on the ball. And this guy seems to have the energy as well, which I really love. Not everyone is made out for this kind of work. You got to be on the ball. You got to not be afraid to walk up to a stranger and say, hey, I'm so-and-so and I throw the best parties in the city. Want to be on my VIP list? Boom, done, right? And you want to be able to pick up a phone call, talk to venue owners, talk to sponsors, talk to co-hosts and partners, collaborators. All of these things we're strategizing early on, and we haven't gotten to those pieces that I just mentioned now with the partners and the co-hosts and stuff like that. And what I love about this, I mean, for me, it's like, pardon my French, holy shit, I get to organize an event, which is actually the most exciting part for me. So that's really cool because I get to shape the event and work through somebody else. But obviously it's in his decision, but you tell him about certain things that works. And one of the things I told him yesterday, I said, hey, if you're testing out a new concept, let me share what I did so you can see if this is something you think would work for you. So when I did my events and I was going to do something new, and I would be usually the creative person on the team, so to speak, that would come up with some crazy parties. And the example I gave him yesterday, not everyone may not want to come to a toga party and dress in a sheet. And I'm thinking about the girls. The girls like to dress up and be fancy and this and that. So I canceled that party and we did something called a white party where everyone dressed in white. And we matched that up with a day on the calendar. So you always want to look for those things too, right? Which is the perfect for me being from Scandinavia where we have summer solstice. We actually have 3 months of sun, 24 hours around the clock up north. And where I live down south, it's darker, of course, but still, so we celebrate the lightest day of the year, which is the 21st of June. Now you could flip it. You can do it for the darkest day of the year, which is the 20 or 21st of December. I haven't done that actually because I like the white party more. So that is a great idea to do a party. And he shared another idea with me, so we were kind of sparring. He is doing something called a white lies party, and I hadn't heard about that before. And that's where people wear a white t-shirt and they write something that's not true. For example, I am not drunk, or my girlfriend allowed me to come to this party, something like that, or even more stuff. And you could write things on the back and front and stuff. You do that with a marker, right? So anyway, those are the kind of things we're talking about, all kinds of things. And it's very fascinating to see how he's thinking and what he wants to do. So when I worked with him yesterday, we did something interesting. I put on my AI recorder. I use a software called Hedy, and it catches not only the transcript and the audio, but it also gives me a summary, and it also generates a to-do list. So it's a very smart app, and it records live as we're talking, and it actually gives me questions I should be asking as well live if I wanted to. I didn't use it in this case, but I could have. So we ended up both with a very detailed task and to-do list, which is really cool because I can go back and look at the to-do list and see exactly what I said I would do, and action items that he was going to do, and things he pointed out that he's working on. So we both of us have that list now, and we're going through that before the next session. So we meet once a week for an hour and a half for 6 months right now, okay? And I'm not going to say the cost because that's going to change and it's increasing. He's one of my first clients, but I'm comfortably going to say to him that I can help him make X amount of money per month. And I'm not going to share that either because it's different from people to people. So having this system is really, really helpful. And I also started sharing a bunch of tools that I'm using because, believe it or not, even if he's young and on the cutting edge with many things, there's a lot of things he doesn't know. And I'm actually quite heavily involved with AI and certain tools and email systems and texting systems and stuff like that. So we're swapping ideas, and I'm sharing some ideas and pulling on some contacts that I have. So we collaborate together and work together as a team. And that's how it is working with me as a coach one-on-one. So this guy said something really profound to me. He said, Alf, you know what? I have, since I was 11, I've been wanting to be an entrepreneur. I said, wow, that's interesting. And then he says, you know what? Because I want to take charge of my own future. I want to be able to control where I go with it. He's also a very competitive sportsman, and he's also the captain on the team, on the ice hockey team. And so he is definitely one of those guys that takes charge and wants to make something happen. And he told me something fascinating too that I've learned from him. He said, Alf, you know what? I'm 20 now, but I can drive to a club alone, and I'll go in there confidently and have fun and meet people and mingle and match and get numbers and phone numbers and put people on my list and this and that without any problem. So he said, that's my superpower. Because I'm also looking for that in people. What is your superpower? What makes you tick? Because that's where we want to focus you, right? What you're really good at. If you don't focus on stuff you're bad at, that's where we supplement with other people that can help you with that, like he did with the technical part of things. Actually, his roommate happened to be really good with websites and stuff like that. So he engaged him for a small profit margin of each event. Now here I shared another secret with him. I said, make sure if you say, oh, you're going to get 3% of my profit, it's like, oh, okay, so getting 3% of your profit, well, you could run your profits into zero if you want to by piling on other expenses that shouldn't be there. So I said to him, make sure you put that on a spreadsheet, what is considered legitimate expenses for a party. So, and I even made the example. I said, if you fly down to Florida to meet friends and hang out, and yes, probably work too, but you write off all of that expense, guess what? There's no profit again to share with somebody. So that wouldn't be fair to the other people, right? So you need to have that itemized on a spreadsheet, what it should be and what is acceptable, or maybe just a portion of it is acceptable. So those kind of things can break or make a relationship. I've been through those as well, taken a few arrows in my back, and that's what I'm sharing. I'm thinking about all these things. Like today I came up with another idea. It's like, I never thought of that. And that's one of the things I will share with him as we get to it. One time we got in trouble with a venue, I'm just going to put it that way, and they had to shut down the event in the middle of the party, which was a big disaster for us. We had basically over promoted the party. There were 2,000-3,000 people outside that couldn't get in, which is a good problem to have, but you got to manage the situation, right? That's the learning part. Now, guess what? They called us in to a meeting to meet with all the heads of the company. My mentor said something very smart. He said, Alf, we need to find out who they're coming with, who's going to be at that meeting, because he wanted to match the energy and match the number of people that they were going to be. So he called up and said, hey, I just want to make sure who is going to be at the meeting. They said so-and-so and so-and-so, title so-and-so. We knew who they were. And then we literally so-called made up a team and brought in friends of ours that we would introduce, and we were sitting around the table matching their energy. And my God, this guy was so good with so many things. And he was my mentor, right? And those kind of things that could save your butt. Those are the things that you don't know what you don't know. And that's where I come in, because I've been through a lot of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So anyway, that's a little taste of how it would be getting coaching from me. We are going into the second session with him. I'm writing down new questions that I have for him. I'm going to check that he has done what he's supposed to do. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I executed on those things today, and that's how it is. So we're sparring, and then we're going to start setting goals, income goals, attendance goals, finding new venues. So he wants to be the #1 party promoter. I say party promoter, it's kind of a stigma. He's much more than a party promoter, but that's what we call ourselves. But basically party organizer in his town. Okay, I think Boston. I don't know if I said it earlier, but there it is. So that's where what he's going after, and I love it because I can totally help. So anyway, if you're sitting on the fence, if you're wondering about if I'm for you, now you know a little bit about my style, what we do. This is not a course. It's coaching one-on-one, and you get to work with me directly for 6 months, an hour and a half every time, and you have my WhatsApp. That's at least the current deal. I'm not saying that's going to be the current deal going forward, but that's what it is right now. And he's very lucky because he gets me at a price that's ridiculously low. He makes his money back after the first party. Simple as that. Those prices are going up very shortly, so don't hold me to that either. But anyway, click the link below if you want to set up time to chat with me, call me. Then I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you on the other side. And here's my famous high five, and I'll see ya. Bye.